Melissa.
Hey, Chris, how are you?
Good. Doing good. How's your day going?
Oh, it's good. It's a Monday.
Yeah, Mondays are good.
Yeah. How was your weekend?
It was okay. Yeah, I didn't do much. Still kind of recovering. There's some stuff going around. It's a little weird, but finally got better enough to actually exercise this morning.
Nice.
So I was up super early at like 4:30.
Nice.
So I do CrossFit and Big Fork, which is kind of a new journey for me. I started back in 2008 doing it. And so at that point in time, it was like kind of rogue in a way. Like it was, and I don't mean that as like a workout, but it was kind of like no one really knew about it. But they were posting these exercises online and just started doing it before I went in the Air Force. And then, yeah, I just got back into the swing of things and started doing it again. So it's been a long time coming to get back exercising again since I
Great.
got out. And then, yeah, but how was your weekend?
It was pretty relaxing. Didn't do anything too crazy. Got to visit with a client of mine that I had from over the summer for a transaction. So it was good.
Yeah. So, I mean, if anyone's kind of watching at this point in time, can you tell us, Melissa, just kind of what we're thinking about with this podcast and also potentially where this could go and
Yeah,
what
well,
we're
when I came up with the idea, I just thought it would be really good for, you're a mortgage broker, and then,
Mhm.
I'm a real estate agent. So I just felt like it'd be really good for the two of us to team up and just, the number one question everybody has is what is the market doing? But I think, first of
Yeah.
all, I think, to start off, I'd like to see this podcast just as a way to introduce ourselves, basically. So,
Yeah.
I guess I'll go.
Yeah,
But
please.
I'm Melissa Simons. I do real estate out of all of Northwest Montana. There's not really anywhere that I don't go. I mean, I guess I'd even go down to Bozeman or down to Billings, but mostly my territory is from Phillipsburg all the way up to Eureka, Montana. So I do residential, farm, ranch, just rural properties, land. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not married. It's kind of my theme is I'm not married. I don't have kids, so I have time to travel for my clients. So it's not a big deal. And I love what I do. It's really, really fun. It was actually around this time last year, snowshoed into 20 acres. So it took us probably an hour before we even got to the 20 acres because we had to snowshoe like this big long road that hadn't been plowed. And this is up in Trago, Montana, which, if people don't know, that's about 45 minutes north of Whitefish, Montana. So yeah, we snowshoed in. I have a dog. His name's Bear. He's actually right here. He's always by my side, but he snowshoed in with us. He was maybe about 6 months at that point, but my clients were super impressed on how well he did, and just it was so fun. But yeah, it was a husband and wife, and they're about to move into it this summer. So yeah, it's
Oh,
pretty exciting what I do. Yeah.
Yeah. So can you tell me a little bit like what spurred you getting into real estate or where were you at in life um and then how long you've been doing it and one thing that you really love about it?
Well, I guess I've been around the real estate industry because my family is in real estate. So they have Stelling and Associates, which it started in Polson, Montana, but then my uncle Chuck moved it down to Missoula off of Broadway in Higgins. I also worked as an assistant for a gal that worked for Berkshire Hathaway, and that was actually in Texas.
Wow.
So I've been around it for quite a while, but I've been licensed for 3 years. I got in right before the pandemic. And I got in because my cousin had told me it was either the Air Force or he said, come and get into the family business. So,
Because your dad was in the Air Force, right?
yeah, my dad was in the Air Force. Well, all my family was in the military.
Wow.
My grandma and then all my uncles, except for one uncle, everybody was in the Navy. One
Wow.
uncle went into the Army. So, and then my dad was, in the Air Force. He was in the Air Force for 2 years and then he still works private civil service as an aircraft mechanic. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Cool.
Mhm. How about you? Why don't you introduce yourself to everybody so that they get to know you as well and what you do at
Sure.
like mortgage?
Yeah, I do want to ask, so bringing back to the question, what do you love about real estate? And then I'll share a little bit about myself.
Oh, kind of just what I had previously said. Like I love to travel for my clients. I love
Yeah.
to I mean snowshoeing into 20 acres. Who else gets to be paid for sometimes you don't get paid, but luckily they love the property and I got paid to snowshoe in on a full day. Like, and then we continued up to look at other property up in Libby. Like, I get to know the state of Montana more so than what a lot of people would. So, and I love my clients. I can honestly say I don't really have any bad clients. There's been a couple here or there that have been, not easy to deal with, but not really anything that makes me hate my job. I love it. It's fun.
Yeah, I definitely feel the same way. I mean, it's nothing more satisfying than helping, like, say, a first-time home buyer or even um, anyone for that matter get into their home and to help them in that journey, help them in that process. It's just such a rewarding feeling. Yeah. So me, oh gosh. So yeah, I was in the Air Force when once I got out, I decided to go and do emergency medical work. So I was doing that at a hospital, started tapping into education because I went enlisted. So I started doing some college classes once I got out, and I was thinking to do nursing. And then I got super prideful because I started doing really well in college. And then I was like, oh, I'll do pre-med, and then that didn't happen. But anyhow, I ended up doing lab sciences. I really loved the analytical side of things, the sciences behind getting results for nurses and doctors. So I really kind of gravitated towards the lab because the first emergency room I worked at, there was a lab inside the emergency room, which like helped get like quicker results for the doctors, things like that. And
Yeah.
then yeah, so I did that for about, I don't know, 10 years or so. And then the pandemic happened just recently, right? So I worked most of it and then decided to try something different while doing medical work. So I got into processing loans for a gentleman, Dave Christensen, who is, you can probably see the logo on the video, Mountain Lake Mortgage. He's the owner, president, and senior loan officer here at Mountain Lake Mortgage. And just started working conditions, getting to know files from like start to finish, but didn't really learn like the originating aspect of it until I started shadowing Dave a little bit, and just kind of fell in love with that initial interview with the client or just connection with the client to build relationship, which our motto is we're here to build a relationship for life. And
Right.
that's really what I'm about too. So I'm happy to be part of an organization that feels the same way, and really just advocating for clients. So yeah, so what I do now is I'm a loan officer. I took a certified mortgage advising course. So I do that as well, like look at trends in the market, knowing when to lock, when not to lock clients, and just keeping my eye on the market as well, and not just kind of, yeah. So
Right.
yeah, so I'll just say like I love what I do. In a way, I kind of relate it to a lab in the real estate business because
Yeah.
we're kind of behind the scenes. Like no one really knows about us too much, even though a lot of people like connect with us to get into a home, but not all the times. And a lot of people don't see like what actually goes into funding a loan and getting someone into a house. Like
Right.
it's we are working conditions, we're getting documentations, we're advocating for clients, we're looking at guidelines, like, and pricing and finding the best product for the client. And there's really a lot that goes into it, that the appraisal, like we're the people behind the appraisal, ordering that, if funding's needed on the transaction. And so there's just a lot of things that we do that a lot of people don't know what really goes on. And I love it because that's what the
Right.
lab was in the medical world. It was behind the scenes, like who's these lab people, lab rats,
Right.
and but we're the ones like actually getting results for the doctors so they know how to treat the patient, sort of thing. So I've kind of related it a little bit to that. And And I'm like a detail oriented person. So I love details. I love reading guidelines. Love learning the new up and new products, and following the market trends and stuff. So being kind of analytical in a way kind of is an advantage in this industry, with lending. So yeah, so we're a broker, so we shop different lenders for the client, and get them the best possible product and pricing. And we are here for life with people. So we keep an eye as they close a loan, like we keep an eye on the market for our clients, and just think of their finances and keep up with their life. So we know, like, hey, they had a new baby, like, well, maybe now it's a good time to like refinance or look at that. And so we can lower the payment or something, or maybe they want some cash out for some home improvement. So we just kind of like really keep in touch with our clients. And that's kind of what our motto is building relationships for life. And
Yeah.
staying in relationship is what we're all about. So that's what I'm about too.
Yeah. I think EXP, there's a lot of some of the top producing agents in EXP, and I think any agent or even broker would say this is it really is about relationship
Yeah.
over transaction.
Yeah.
And I had a top producer ask me recently, what's my secret? And I thought that was so funny because I'm like, what's my secret? You're like the guru, not me. But I just said, well, honestly, like I try to treat my clients the way that I would want to be treated. And it really is about a relationship. And if I have just that one transaction and I'm focused in on my client and they're super happy, I'm happier about that than having 10 transactions where, clients are slipping through the cracks.
Yeah.
So I've been pretty lucky. I've had multiple transactions, and luckily, I feel lucky that they've staggered. So it doesn't feel like I'm, I guess, missing details for anybody. But I love, checking up on my clients, not just about the transaction, just to make sure that their day's going good or their family's good. So yeah, I totally get that about building a relationship for life. So I think that's one thing that really attracted me to your guys' company was just seeing how intimate you are with your clients. And that's how I want to be. If I'm going to send my clients somewhere to, because it's a lot of money in real estate, whether it's $100,000, piece of land or a $600,000 home. I mean, obviously prices are a little higher than that for the most part, but it's a lot of money. So it's not something I take lightly. And so I really try to pride myself in making sure that they also don't just go to any bank, but that any bank that I do send them to, or lender or mortgage broker, that they're going to be taken care of. And if I don't feel like that lender or bank or whatever is going to do that, I don't recommend them. It's pretty much with any of my products, like, because it's also my name on it, and I'm sure you guys feel the same way, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
I don't want to be attached to something where someone's going to have a bad experience. So
Yeah. And that speaks volume to your character and just your life that you live. And Dave's kind of raised me up in this industry, and he's very similar. Like, just takes a lot of pride in doing things with excellence. And so I love hearing that, because that really resonates with us here as well. So, and I wanted
Hey,
to speak
so
to, go ahead.
sorry. I saw that you guys came out with that 5% on land. Do you want to go ahead and explain that, since you're doing
Yeah,
that?
I am. Yeah, I'm really, thank you for bringing that up, because I'm
Yeah.
really excited about it. I actually took a class on it last week, and it's really interesting. So there's a lot of paperwork, not a lot, but there's paperwork that goes involved with getting the builder approved, which has to be done on every transaction. So even if we get a builder approved, um, if another client comes using that same builder, we just have to formulate the piece of paper, the form, really specific to that client. So some ways it saves sometimes, but not all the time. But anyhow, we get the builder approved, we get the plans approved. So things like getting a budget sheet, blueprints, and some other details that we'd be happy to discuss with any clients or anybody that is looking to do such a thing, to actually help build on land. So there's some options. So there's a purchase route, which is 5% minimum. And there's a 5% that gets worked into the project for any runaways for construction. But we can do the project with 5% down, which is really like kind of unheard of in a way. At least since I've started, we've always kind of, since we haven't had like what they call it a one-time close for constructions, we've always kind of built relationship with banks in the area, excuse me, and then we end up refinancing them out of the construction loan, but they've had to obtain the land, with somehow, some way.
Right.
So another way that we could do it is like, say, for instance, they already have the land, they're free and clear, or if they have a lien on the land, we can do a refinance on it and actually utilize that equity or use that as the down payment as well.
Okay.
So there's different ways to go, either purchase, like someone's like, hey, I love that land, I want to build. Well, reach out to us because we can help. And Melissa too, as well. Like, if you're looking at land, like definitely reach out to her, like, so she can scope out the property with you. And then, but yeah, our job is really to get the builder and the plans approved. And then, we just start working the conditions. We get once the client's under contract, obviously get an appraisal going. And then we close the loan, and then that's when the draws start.
Right.
So for the construction, so it's instead of two transactions where you're getting a construction loan and then you're refinancing out of the construction loan, it's a one-time close in a way of just like, do the construction and the final like loan all at once. So it's really just one transaction. And then so during the draw period, though, it's kind of an interest-only payment. And then once the construction's done, it starts the principal and interest, or I think we even do ARMs on it as well. So adjustable rate mortgages too. So there's different products. It is only conventional at the moment, at least what we're offering. So we don't do government at the moment, like FHA, VA, USDA, but we're definitely, I know the lender that is like spearheading this for us, they're definitely looking at that in the near future. So that's a little bit about what I learned. And it seems like a really streamlined process. And the longest, I mean, this will tell you like how long it would take. Like they allow a lock of 90 days to close the loan, but that's the max that you can go. So it's definitely going to close probably like 30, 45 days, like a normal purchase transaction.
Yeah, that's normal for land.
Yeah, so it's not going to take that long. But if the client felt like, well, I need to finalize some things like sale of my home, stuff like that to get the land, like we could extend a lock to 90 days at the max, but it can't go any further than that. So we're definitely getting the transaction going within that time frame to at least get the building started.
Which is great because most of the time with land, it is usually about 30 to 40% down. So is this just a limited time? Is that what?
No, this is something we have to go Fannie Mae. So the guidelines are a little bit different.
Okay.
Like instead of Freddie Mac. So, but anyone can reach out to us. Like I'm specifically bringing that up for like self-employed borrowers. Cause like Freddie Mac has an opportunity for people that have been in the business in their self-employed work for 5 years or so, to actually get a 1-year approval. So that's the only reason I bring that up. So Fannie Mae, there's some different guidelines and caveats to the guidelines that we are only doing, but this is going forward. Like this is what is not just limited. It's probably just going to expand from here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so when you say, I'm just trying to think of questions a client might have, but when you say that it's an approved lender, or not lender, an approved builder. So what are those guidelines? Because what if they have a favorite builder?
Yeah, so it's a pretty streamlined process. They would let us know like who they're going to work with. We fill out a form with the client, and then we submit it to a company that United Wholesale Mortgage, this is the lender, which was actually voted number 1 in wholesale over like, I think it was either Rocket Mortgage. I think it was over Rocket Mortgage this past quarter. And they are just on a whole other level of lending. Like I got a CTC from submission to clear to close in 2 days just the other day.
Awesome.
They're just radically quick, and so they're just on a whole other level. Technology is just amazing, and the products that they offer for us to help get loans clear to close is really streamlined. But yeah, so we would get the information from the client, like what builder they're going to use. We would work with that builder and the client to get any needed documentation, any of the plans, the budget, material sheet, and then we submit it to a company that's partnering with the United Wholesale Mortgage. And there are a couple like small fees that get worked in. Like I think it's $150 like kind of application fee in a way for the builder to get approved. And then the turn time on that is like a week for the plans to be approved and also the builder to be approved.
Okay.
So it happens really quick. And then, yeah, they're free to put an offer, like, and it could be as quick as less than a week too. But it's about a week max turn time or so, maybe like 10 days max. So,
Okay.
which I don't know about you, but I imagine like land isn't, I think I saw actually a piece of land go in a day the other week or so, but I would
Yeah, I
think
mean, land, it doesn't matter what it is. If it's a house or if it's a piece of land and it's in a great location, things are still selling fast and we're still seeing multiple offers. But
oh, wow.
it's just that our inventory is so
Low, right?
low.
Yeah.
So, people aren't going to pay a high price for something that's like meh. So those types of things are sitting. So if it went fast, it's probably because it was in a great location, and it was probably a coveted piece of land. But
Yeah. So, I mean, I think a week, like if someone saw a piece of land to get everything ready, and I mean, it's not to say we couldn't send out a pre-approval letter, if we feel like obviously we do the pre-approval before them putting an offer down. But I mean, it's something that we could kind of navigate, between the offer and the getting the builder approved and such. So,
yeah,
but if it's a trustworthy builder, I'm sure like it wouldn't take long, and if they're pretty diligent about getting us docs and paperwork signed, like it could happen less than a week. So.
right. Well, we only have about 10 minutes left. Real quick, what is well, there was gonna be a question I was gonna ask about that. The builder. I don't remember. I'm sure it'll come to me and I can ask you again. But if I get any questions, obviously from clients, I can also shoot them over to you. And so you guys are in Kalispell, and then my office is out of Kalispell as well. But the same goes for me, which a lot of people don't understand this. They think, oh, I'm in Kalispell, I can't go, let's say, like Big Fork, or I can't go where Eureka or down to Phillipsburg, but I can travel all over all over Montana. Like my license is for all of Montana, and people don't really understand that. And I had asked you at one point, you guys can lend to anybody throughout the state of Montana. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. So we are, licensed in the state of Montana, and we're actually looking at Idaho soon. We're in the process of getting licensed there, but yeah, we cover all of Montana and have definitely helped people out east. And even though we're in Kalispell, and so we're here for the whole state.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. I think. I don't know. I know we don't have much time, but I have a lot of hope for where real estate's going this year. I'll speak a little bit to that. There's some things coming down the pipeline. Like typically, I mean, I know I've been seeing your posts a little bit about recession, which isn't like guaranteed that we're looking at it, but most people, I think 160.
Wait, can I stop you for a second? So my post on recession was before the beginning of the year. So recession, we pretty much already went through recession. We can still possibly go through recession, but because everybody's prepared for it, the market is saying that it's going to be a pretty light recession for the most part. But my post lately has been like, our interest rates are low, like comparatively. Are they as low as pandemic times? No, and they're not going to be that low, which you can probably chime in on that. But I just want people to get their pre-approval. Again, you can probably chime in on that too. But yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely super important to get pre-approved, especially in this market. Like you said, there's multiple offers. We have some avenues too that we can get the borrower, if it's kind of an uncertain one or they want to be more definitive on their pre-approval, we can actually get them to underwriting in like 15, 20 minutes and get them back with an underwriting pre-approval as well. But yeah, it's definitely like, I think, especially my generation, like first time home buyers, like coming out of the pandemic rates. I was talking to an agent actually just today, and they were saying how, like, kind of what you're bringing up, like how important it is to be educating people. Like, these are good rates, like, and the rates in the twos. I asked Dave, who's been doing this for 35 years, and he said, Chris, I never saw them in the twos. He said, I think I saw them in the threes a couple times, but that was like unheard of. So I think just educating people, like, where we're seeing rates 5s, 6s, like that's an okay rate to get. And so we're just trying our best to educate people. And then the hope is what I was saying, my hope for the future in real estate is there's been some different navigations and kind of fine tuning of some of the CPI and also shelter costs, which we're being educated on by experts, that they just recently had to kind of switch some things. So we're going to probably see some rates drop. What we're hoping for in the summer is probably going to happen more in November, because they're kind of manipulating the inflation results and stuff a little bit. So with that, there's hope that people that maybe aren't too keen on like the 5 and 6s, well, hopefully by the end of the year into the next year, they'll be able to refinance. And there's also great options besides like ARMs, which are becoming a little bit of popularity, like within like smaller banks and stuff, which are great products.
Right.
Hope is they'll refinance, right? But I've noticed some of these places, like they're not offering what we call temporary buy downs, which I know you've coached some people on. And that's kind of a strong suit for us right now, where what's advantageous, even for sellers right now, instead of dropping price reducing like 30,000, they could save like, and that's like in a market of like maybe 400, 500,000 on asking price. But if they were to, in that same scenario, if the borrower is like, at a loan amount of 400,000 and offering at 500,000, the seller would only have to contribute, if instead of price reducing, for the buyer to get a 2-1 buy down, like between $8,000 and $10,000 or so. And I mean, that depends on the rate. It depends on the down payment and the sales price. But we're seeing a lot of people, a lot of buyers and sellers really looking at that. And it's really definitely more advantageous, I feel, than getting an ARM right now, even though we still have that as an option, and banks are offering great ARMs too. But the temporary buy down is really a strategic option for buyers and even sellers to maybe not lose as much on a price reduction.
Well, and it's not only that, sorry to interrupt you, but it's more that, people are like, well, I'll wait, because the interest rates are going to come down. I mean, they come down slower than they usually go up. But they're going to come down. So people, if you wait, you're also going to pay a higher price, because where our inventory is so low, the pricing on homes is only increasing in value. So say you wait for those 4% interest rates, you could be paying an extra $100,000 to $200,000 if you wait, because everything I'm reading, it doesn't show until 2024 will we see those 4% interest rates. Well, prices are going to go up by then. So, and there's not going to be a housing crash because, well, our inventory is so low. And it's not just low in Montana. It's crazy how low it is, but it's low everywhere throughout the United States. So anyways,
that's a really good point, and yeah, it's just an amazing point. And then when rates come down, everyone's kind of out of the gates because rates are down. So yeah, like you're saying, get pre-approved, see if it makes sense, look at like different options, ARMs, or even temporary buy downs, and which there are options for buyers to get it too, just a little bit more. But
Right.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, if you're getting a rate in the 5, like, for instance, the 2-1, like, it's gonna be in the 3s for the first year and 4s for the second year, and then you get the final in the 5. So and hopefully you can refinance, like you're saying, within that year or 2, and,
Yeah.
uh, and then actually apply whatever's left in the escrow account for the temporary buy down to your closing costs for the refinance, so
Right.
kind of a win-win.
Yeah. All right, bud. So I think we've hit our time mark.
Yeah,
But it's great kind of chatting and getting this started. I'm really excited about where this is going to go. I think our plan, just to let anybody know, our plan is to hopefully try to do this once a week. We'll try to be consistent on our times. I will be the first one to say if and as we go into summer and things get busy, I just might have to skip, but because clients always come first. But I'm really
yeah,
excited about educating people, and we personally would love to hear any of the topics that people might have as far as questions, whether it's real estate or mortgage, so that we're catering to you as our clients and our guests here. It's not just about us kind of wasting time and air. But yeah, you have anything else you might want to add there, Chris?
Yeah, I think what's my hope for this is to educate people and also us to connect, but also to connect with other agents and even potentially lenders as well, and
Yeah,
to hear from people and to hear how this journey's going. Um,
right.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm excited. There's a agent over in the east part of Montana. I feel like he's done really well. I love his stuff. He does a lot of farm and ranch,
mhm,
so I'd love to have him on and feature him. Any agents from the area or even out of state, really. But yeah, it's just really nice to kind of let people know what's going on. So thanks
awesome.
for agreeing to do this with me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Melissa, and yeah, I look forward to chatting with you next time.
Yeah, happy Monday and have a great week.
Yeah, you too. All right, see
Okay,
you, everybody.
bye.